My date threw a public tantrum after I refused to pay for his $500 dinner, slamming his fist on the table and screaming, "A woman like you should be grateful I even showed up." Gasps filled the restaurant. Then the waiter stepped forward, holding a receipt, and the truth he revealed made my date's face go red with shame. So, this happened last year in New York City at a high-end steakhouse near Times Square. One of those places where the menu doesn't have prices because if you have to ask, you probably can't afford it. Yeah, one of those places. Now, before you start wondering why I agreed to go there, let me explain. This was my third date with a guy I'll call Brad. Our first two dates were pretty good. He dressed well, smelled expensive, and talked about his investment portfolio like he actually knew what he was doing. He carried himself like someone with money, not in a flashy, annoying way, but in a casual, confident way. He picked this steakhouse, saying it was his spot and that he only dined at the best places. His exact words were, "A woman like you deserves the best." Seemed like a sweet compliment at the time. I should have known better. The second we sat down, something felt off. Brad was too enthusiastic about ordering the most expensive things on the menu. Not just for himself, he kept pushing me to do it too. "Trust me, get the Wagyu, babe. It'll change your life. I like steak, but I'm not about to drop $300 on a single meal when a cheaper cut would be just as good." So I ordered a reasonable filet mignon. Brad, on the other hand, went crazy with the menu. He ordered Wagyu steak, market price, which means $, a $200 bottle of wine, a lobster tail, add on some fancy appetizer for the table, which meant just him, dessert, plus some imported espresso. I remember staring at the menu, feeling my stomach twist. This wasn't just an expensive meal, it was ridiculous. But hey, maybe he really was the kind of guy who did this all the time. Maybe this was nothing to him. So, I kept quiet. We eat. We chat. The food is good. Then the bill arrives. It's over $500. I keep my face neutral and wait for Brad to pull out his fancy credit card. Instead, he leans back, smirks, and slides the bill toward me. "You got this, right?" I freeze. I laugh a little, assuming he's joking. He's not. "Oh, come on," he says. "You're the woman. You should be grateful I even showed up." I blink. Did this grown man just say that out loud? I look around, wondering if someone else at the table heard what I just heard. But it's just me and this clown acting like he's doing me a favor. So, I stay calm and ask, "Why would I pay for your dinner?" Brad's entire face changes. The easy, laid-back charm disappears. His smirk fades. Suddenly, he looks pissed. "Wow, I can't believe this. Women these days don't appreciate a real man when they see one." People at the next table glance over. The restaurant isn't loud, and his voice just rose a little too much. I stay quiet. That makes him angrier. His fist slams onto the table, shaking the plates and silverware. "A woman like you should be grateful I even showed up." And just like that, the entire restaurant goes silent. I feel my face go hot. Every single person in our section stops talking. Even the couple in the middle of their anniversary dinner is now staring. Someone near the bar mutters, "What the hell?" I slowly push my chair back, preparing to stand up and walk out, but before I can, something even better happens. A waiter steps forward, holding a small slip of paper. The waiter is completely professional. He doesn't smirk. He doesn't raise an eyebrow. But his tone is enough to make me realize something is very wrong. "Actually, sir," the waiter says, "I believe this belongs to you." Brad goes pale. The waiter drops a receipt onto the table. Brad snatches it up and stares at it like he's just seen a ghost. I lean over and see what it says. Brad's credit card had been declined. Multiple times. I exhale sharply. So, let's get this straight. He came here knowing his card wouldn't work. He still ordered the most expensive things on the menu. He waited until the bill came to try and make me pay. And when I refused, he tried to humiliate me. Brad looks up at the waiter, blinking rapidly. There must be a mistake," he mumbles. The waiter, still perfectly polite, says, "No mistake, sir. Your card was declined before the meal began. You were informed at the start of the evening." I snap my head toward Brad. "Wait, what?" The waiter continues, "You were advised to provide an alternate payment method, but instead, you asked us to run it again later. And now, the bill is due." I could scream. Brad knew this whole time. He knew. Instead of dealing with it like an adult, he let me sit through the entire dinner thinking he had it covered, only to try and dump it on me at the last second. Brad's mouth opens and closes. He is desperately trying to think of something to say. At this point, people around us are fully watching. The manager appears at our table. Brad looks like he wants to sink into the floor. "Sir, we don't tolerate scams at this establishment," the manager says. "We'll need you to provide a valid form of payment, or we'll have to call the authorities." Authorities. Oh, this just got better. Brad starts stammering. His hands are shaking as he reaches into his pocket, mumbling something about needing to go to the ATM. Then, before anyone can stop him, he bolts right out the door. I just sit there. People around me are whispering. A woman at the next table lets out a sharp laugh. The manager sighs, turns to me, and says, "Ma'am, don't worry. We'll handle this." I have no idea what's about to happen next. I sit there for a second, stunned. Did this man just run out of the restaurant? I look at the manager, half expecting him to chase after Brad, but he just shakes his head. This isn't the first time, he mutters. Wait, what? I straighten up. Not the first time? I glance at the waiter, who nods slightly, confirming it. He's tried this before? I ask, my voice low. The manager sighs, pulls a small notebook from his pocket and flips through it. He lands on a page and turns it toward me. There, in neat handwriting, is a list of names. At the bottom, Brad's full name, followed by the words, attempted dine-in dash. Declined card. Oh, this just got interesting. The manager leans down and says, "Ma'am, I don't know if you know this man well, but I'd suggest you stay away. He's a scammer." Scammer? I let out a short laugh. Yeah, no kidding. But the manager isn't smiling. I mean it, he says. He does this all over the city. Different women, different restaurants. He puts on a nice suit, orders a ridiculous meal, then tries to guilt his date into paying. I stare at him, my stomach twisting. I think back to our first 2 dates. The way he always chose expensive places, but then let me cover the smaller things like drinks or the tip. It didn't seem weird at the time. It just felt normal. But now? Now, it's clear. He never had money. He was just playing the game long enough to trap someone into a massive bill. I was supposed to be that person. And I almost fell for it. As I'm sitting there, still processing all this, the manager waves someone over. A security guard. He leans down and asks, "Do you have his number?" I do. I hesitate, but then I pull out my phone and show them. The manager takes out his own phone and dials. He puts it on speaker. The call rings. Once. Twice. Then, he picks up. "Babe, the manager cuts him off. "Sir, this is the manager of the restaurant you just ran out of. We have your information. You need to return and pay your bill, or we will contact the authorities." Dead. Silence. Then, he hangs up. I stare at the phone. The security guard chuckles, shaking his head. Yeah, he's not coming back. I should be furious. I should be shaking with anger, but instead, all I feel is disgust. This isn't just a bad date. This is a pattern. I look at the manager. "You said he does this all over the city. How do you know?" The manager exchanges a look with the waiter. Then, he pulls out another notebook. This one is older, the edges worn from use. He flips to a page, and there is a list of restaurant names. I skim over it. High-end places. Steakhouse, seafood, rooftop bars. Next to some of them are small notes. Try to dispute charge. Left date with bill. Fake card, said, "ATM is down." Pretended to be sick and left mid-meal. The manager taps the notebook. He's known in the industry. He's been blacklisted from a few places, but New York has hundreds of high-end spots. He just moves on to the next one. I blink. This isn't just a bad date story. This is an operation. I take a slow breath. Has anyone reported him? The manager shrugs. Not that we know of. Most people don't want the hassle. They just pay the bill and move on. And just like that, I make a decision. I'm not going to be one of those people. Brad picked the wrong woman. I grab my phone, scroll through our old messages, and start taking screenshots. His texts about being a high-value man. His dinner reservations. His little, "Oh, I forgot my wallet" joke from the last date. Then, I open social media. I search his name. Public profiles, dating apps. And within 5 minutes, I find 3 other women following him. Something tells me they have stories too. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet, but one thing is clear. Brad isn't just a bad date. He's a serial scammer. And he's about to be exposed. As I sit there, phone in hand, the realization starts sinking in. This wasn't just a one-time scam. Brad was doing this to multiple women, probably even right now. I scroll through his social media, checking the women following him. Most of them are young professionals, just like me. They seem normal. Smart, put together, the type of women who wouldn't fall for this kind of thing. But then again, I didn't think I would either. I stare at his last post, a mirror selfie in a suit, captioned, "Grind now, rest later." Some of y'all don't get it. Oh, I get it, Brad. I click on one of the profiles of the women following him. Let's call her Sophia. She looks familiar, probably someone from the finance or law circles in New York. I hesitate, then send her a message. Hey, this is random, but did you ever go on a date with Brad? Within seconds, she replies. That loser? Yeah. What did he do this time? Oh. Oh, this is about to get good. I'm not the first. I'm not even the fifth. Sophia and I start messaging back and forth. Turns out, she dated Brad 2 months ago. Same story, fancy dinner, flashy charm, big talk about investments. But the twist? He didn't just stick her with the bill, he borrowed money from her. Said something about his funds being temporarily tied up in crypto, and he just needed a quick loan. She never got her money back. And then she drops this bomb. You should talk to Rachel too. She has the wildest story about him. I pause. Who's Rachel? Sophia sends a phone number. Rachel picks up on the first ring. Her voice is sharp, clipped, all business. Did Brad screw you over too? She asks immediately. Almost, I say. I caught on before I paid. But I heard he's been doing this for a while. She laughs coldly. You have no idea. Turns out, Rachel dated Brad 6 months ago. Unlike Sophia and me, she actually worked in finance, real finance, not whatever fake hustle Brad pretended to have. She was impressed by him at first. Said he knew the right words, dropped the right names. She even looked up one of his so-called investment firms, and at first glance, it seemed real. But then, she found out the truth. Brad was a fraud. The investment company he claimed to work for, it didn't exist. He'd registered a fake LLC under his own name, made a website with stolen stock images, and used it to convince women he had money. The high-end suits? Rented. The fancy watch? A knockoff. The portfolio he bragged about? Photoshopped screenshots. I sit there, gripping my phone. Brad wasn't just a dine and dash scammer. He was a full-on con artist. And then Rachel tells me the worst part. I did some digging after he ghosted me, Rachel says. Brad has been sued before. Twice. I nearly dropped my phone. For what? Fraud. Theft. But the cases were dropped. My stomach turns. She sighs. Here's the thing. Brad doesn't just scam dates, he scams people in general. Investors, small business owners, even his own friends. But he's careful. He never takes too much, never leaves a clear enough trail. And when things get bad, he disappears and starts over. I close my eyes. So that's how he's been getting away with it. He wasn't just hopping between restaurants, he was hopping between identities. Just as I'm about to respond, my phone buzzes with a new message. It's from an unknown number. And the second I see the text, my blood runs cold. I know what you're doing. Stop now. Brad. He knows. The second I saw the message, I know what you're doing. Stop now. My stomach flipped. Brad knew I was onto him. I stared at my phone, heart pounding. How did he find out? I hadn't posted anything publicly. I hadn't made any big calls. Unless someone tipped him off. I checked the group chat Sophia had just made with me and Rachel. A new message had popped up from a different woman, Jessica. Wait, are you all talking about Brad? He just texted me asking if I wanted to grab drinks tonight. Tonight? Brad was already on his next target. I felt sick. I had two choices. Let it go, block him, and move on. Make sure this was the last time he ever did this to anyone. I chose the second option. I messaged Jessica privately. Hey, I know we don't know each other, but Brad is a scammer. He's been doing this to women for months. Can you stall him tonight? I need to make sure he gets what he deserves. She took less than a minute to respond. Oh, hell yes. Let's take this bastard down. Jessica agreed to meet Brad for drinks, but she would make sure he stayed put long enough for me to arrive. Meanwhile, Rachel, who, as it turned out, had serious connections in finance and law, was pulling every string she could. She called an old friend who worked with a private investigator who had already been tracking Brad on and off due to past fraud allegations. Everything was happening fast. I grabbed my coat, took a deep breath, and headed out. This wasn't just about a bad date anymore. This was about justice. Jessica had chosen a trendy cocktail lounge in the Lower East Side, a place with dim lighting, overpriced drinks, and just the right amount of pretentiousness to make Brad feel like he belonged there. When I walked in, I spotted them immediately. Jessica was laughing at something Brad said, flipping her hair, keeping up the act. Brad, meanwhile, was in full conman mode, leaning in close, flashing that same fake confident grin, probably spinning some story about his business ventures. He hadn't seen me yet. I walked up to the bar, took the empty seat next to him, and said, loud enough for people to hear, wow, what are the odds? Brad, didn't you just run out of a restaurant 2 hours ago? Brad's entire body stiffened. Slowly, he turned. His face went pale when he saw me. Jessica leaned back, arms crossed, smirking. So, she said, is now a bad time to ask about your investment portfolio? Brad's eyes darted between the two of us, his mind working overtime to figure out a way out of this. People at the surrounding tables started noticing the tension. A few looked over, whispering. I could almost see the wheels turning in Brad's head. Then, he did what all liars do when they get cornered. He turned to Jessica and said, "She's crazy. She's been obsessed with me ever since our date. Don't listen to anything she says." "Oh, buddy. Wrong move." Jessica let out a short, sharp laugh. "Oh, I already know everything. Your card was declined. You tried to scam her into paying. And that's not even the worst part, is it?" Brad swallowed hard. I kept going. "Your little game is over, Brad. Rachel found your fake LLC. We know about the fraud charges. We know about the women you've done this to before." His jaw clenched. "You don't know anything," he muttered. "None of that is true." And then, behind me, a new voice joined in. "Oh, but it is." I turned. Rachel was there, and she wasn't alone. She had brought the private investigator. The investigator, a sharp-looking man in his 40s, didn't waste time. He pulled out a folder and slapped it onto the bar. "Bradley James Carter," he said. "Also known as Brandon Carter, James Miller, and what was the latest one?" Yes. Logan Smith." Brad's entire body locked up. The bar went silent. The investigator kept going. "We've got a nice little file on you. Fake business ventures, fraudulent loans, unpaid debts. Oh, and the best part? You tried the same scam on a woman whose father is a lawyer. Guess what? He's very interested in pressing charges." Brad shot up from his seat. He tried to grab the folder, but the investigator was faster. "Sit down," the investigator said, his voice calm but firm. "We're just getting started." Jessica stood up too, blocking his way. By now, the bartender and a few other customers were watching closely. "This is harassment," Brad said, his voice cracking. "I'll call the cops." Rachel smirked. "Go ahead. Let's see how well that works out for you." Brad's hands curled into fists. His whole body was tense, like a man whose entire world was crumbling in real time. And then, the manager from the steakhouse walked in. I had texted him earlier, letting him know we were confronting Brad. Now, he was here. With printed receipts of Brad's declined transactions. He held them up. "Sir, you left without paying," he said, his voice calm but authoritative. "We have security footage. And if you don't settle the bill right now, we're pressing charges." Brad's face went red. He looked around the room, realizing he had nowhere to run. The investigator stepped forward again. "Here's the deal, Brad," he said. "You can either pay off what you owe tonight, or we take all of this straight to the police." For a second, I thought Brad was going to try to run again. His eyes flicked toward the door. But the security guard from the restaurant had just arrived, standing right in front of the exit. Trapped. Slowly, with shaking hands, Brad pulled out his real wallet, the one he had conveniently forgotten earlier. And for the first time in who knows how long, he paid for his own damn meal. The moment he handed over his card, the tension broke. People started whispering, the bartender shook his head, and Rachel let out a low, satisfied hum. "That's a start," she said. "Now let's talk about all the other people you scammed." Brad's shoulders slumped. For the first time since I met him, he looked afraid. I picked up my drink, took a slow sip, and then said the last thing I'd ever say to him, "A man like you should be grateful I even showed up." And with that, I walked out. Looking back, I don't regret any of it. I could have just walked away, let him scam someone else, let him move on. But that night, he learned he wasn't untouchable. Brad never showed up on dating apps again. His accounts vanished. I don't know if he changed. I doubt it. But for once in his life, he lost. And that was enough for me.